Donald Trump is making a big statement with his guest list to his inauguration tonight. I mean, you take Britain, no invitation for Labor Prime Minister Keir Starmer, but there is one for Nigel Farage, head of the Anti-Immigration Reform Party, that's breathing down Starmer's neck, as well as to other right-wing leaders around the world. Joining me from London is author, broadcaster and columnist Esther Kraku. Esther, great to see you again. What does Trump's invitation list tell you?
It tells me and the rest of the country that Keir Starmer's blunders when it comes to Donald Trump and his appointees in cabinet who have been very vocally opposed to Donald Trump has come back to bite them in the rear. I'm sure most people don't know that we actually have a US ambassador because he's completely snubbed by the incoming Trump administration as well. Peter Mandelson, who it beggars belief that Keir Starmer would even appoint a man like this. I mean, it just goes to show his lack of judgment. But this is a man who had to resign not once, but twice from cabinet. And one of those times it was linked to him facilitating or utilizing his connections to get a dodgy connection, a British passport. So not something that's trivial. And he thought that this man, this what's considered basically a slimy worm in Westminster, was the best person to be our US ambassador. And look, Team Trump is going to be explicit that they have no time for the Peter Mandelsons of the world. His worldview is completely in direct opposition to anything that the Trump administration will pursue. And it just goes to show what direction Keir Starmer is trying to take Britain in. And Trump is making his disdain for this, this Labour government known. I mean, I'm pretty sure that he's probably going to tank the Chagos Islands deal within 48 hours of becoming president, because it's one of the most horrific deals in human history, paying £9 billion to a country that's never owned this territory just for the sake of virtue signaling. I mean, we're jettisoning a key strategic asset, our only strategic asset really, in the Indian Ocean, for reasons God only knows, other than the fact that Keir Starmer may actually hate Britain. So the Trump administration has started sending signals, and no amount of sort of feigning good relations with Trump, a la David Lammy, is going to change that fact.
Yes, that's an extraordinary deal. Britain giving away the Chagos Islands to Mauritius, 2,000 kilometres away, that's never ever owned it, giving it money. Mauritius allied with close connections to China, when those islands include the Diego Garcia American base, naval base. It's just extraordinary. Trump is going to kill it. Trump also has promised to end all this diversity and equity and white privilege nonsense. I wonder whether Britain could use a bit of that spirit. I have to say, now, your College of Midwives is a policy of decolonialising, and says that midwives must learn about that and about white privilege before they can go and deliver babies. How on earth is that even a thing?
Yes, apparently midwives must learn about, I kid you not, the implicit and explicit legacies of colonial perspectives. That should be their priority instead of safely delivering babies. This comes at a time where 2/3 of NHS maternity services have been deemed to be providing poor quality care and are failing on many safety metrics. So clearly they have their priorities in order. Look, when it comes to sort of this DEI woke madness, you often find that it's in the private sector that it tends to fall first, sooner and more quickly than in the public sector. And that's because the incentive structures are different. In the public sector, they don't really answer to the public. Their priority is not the bottom line. People can't explicitly say, we don't like this, by just not patronizing their business. But in the private sector, that's very much very easy to do. So what you have to have is a change in administration in the government and the people that oversee these bloated civil servants that have nothing better to do. I mean, it's incredible that you have, a scandal of 2 hospitals in this country that have had deaths of 200 babies on record in recent years, choosing to focus on colonial perspectives of their midwives instead of, I don't know, not dying babies.
Eyes roll. One day people will laugh at it, but right now it's policy. Donald Trump, TikTok, he campaigned on TikTok in the election campaign, Chinese-owned social media platform, but then the US administration has banned it as of last weekend because of the security concerns. Trump now says he wants to make a deal with the social media platform that he used so much in the election. Here he is.
As of today, TikTok is back. I said, I'll approve, but let the United States of America own 50% of TikTok. So whether you like TikTok or not, we're going to make a lot of money.
Good idea, Esther?
Well, from a business perspective, certainly, but from a young people and what they're consuming perspective, I don't think so. But it makes sense, he's very pro free speech, so it would make sense that he wouldn't want to ban a social media app. He just wants to control it and reduce the security concerns.
Yes, well, that's the thing. He wants to make money, but China is a security risk, so we should see how that all works out. But who knows, he might get away with it. Esther Cracker, always great to talk to you. See you next week. Thank you very much.